In today's video, we're going to be discussing the $1,200 stimulus check and how and where you can get answers from the IRS if you have not received your payment yet. This video is specifically to those people receiving Social Security, whether it's retirement, disability, survivors, VA beneficiaries, SSI beneficiaries, and railroad retirement beneficiaries. All this information as of today, Wednesday, June 3rd. So let's get right into it. We have a lot to talk about, and this is great information. So Corey's going to be doing some reading for us, and let's get right into it.
Yeah, let's go into it. Okay, so this information is from the SSA.gov website, and it's new, so I'm excited to share it. We finally have like a real phone number and information from SSA so that you can call the IRS and get answers. Now, I know there's been phone numbers floating around, and I'm sure that, it sounds like some are helpful and some are not. This is what they're providing to you, so I feel really good about it. Before you call, what they'd like you to do is go to the Economic Payment Information Center webpage. There's actually a hyperlink if you go to ssa.gov, or that you can just type that in, and we'll put that down below in the description of the video so that you can find that. But if you go there, there's a bunch of questions that they can answer. We will go through some of those. For the phone number, I'm going to say it, but we will also put it below. So what they say is, where can I get answers to my economic impact payment questions? So where can I get answers about this stimulus? So what it says here on SSA.gov is you can find answers to most of your EIP related questions at the IRS's Economic Payment Information Center webpage, or on this webpage. And there's if you go to ssa.gov and click on the economic impact payments or stimulus or coronavirus, they do give you a lot of really good information. Or if you do not see the answer to your question, you can call the IRS's EIP hotline at 1-800-919-9835, and we will put that down below so that you can just find it real easy. We have not previously given a phone number to you all because we didn't have a source that we felt was the phone number. So that's why we haven't been providing the phone number, and that's why we're so excited to be able to do it today. Mm-hmm. And I'm not, just as a caveat, I'm sure there's a 2+ hour wait time on these still. I'm sure that this isn't just a quick, you can get on the phone, but it's something, and it maybe is a good source. And it says the Social Security Administration, SSA, cannot answer questions about your specific situation for getting your stimulus. So if you call SSA, if you talk to the SSI people or whoever you talk to, they do not know about your specific stimulus situation. But the IRS, because they're the ones giving you the stimulus, they do. So, Matt, do you want to share anything, or should I keep going?
Okay. This is great information. Just keep talking.
Okay. So next what I'm going to do is, in the SSA.gov, I am going to click on the hyperlink to the Economic Payment Information Center webpage, because it's the easiest way for me to get there. So I'll do that, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about what you can expect when you go on here, and hopefully we can kind of go through some of these really common questions that they're getting, as well as what we are seeing in the comments section. And I just want to say too, I know that we're not able to answer 100% of the questions, or even 50% probably, that you guys give us in the comment section, and that's because we're not the IRS. Even if you kind of feel you're giving us all the information, we don't really know everybody's specific. We don't dole out the checks. So we want to help, but sometimes if it's, we just don't know the answer why sometimes. Would you say that, Matt?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not that we don't want to help, but it's just, I don't want to give information that is just fake.
And another thing too is everyone's situation is different. So even if you tell us, briefly your situation, well, there's a lot more detail to it than just saying, I receive SSI and I have a payee. When do I get it? It's well, we need actually a lot more information than that.
And even if you gave us more information, it's probably not going to help.
That doesn't tell us that we know when your check is going to come.
Yeah, or what happened to it or something, or why you have less money than you expect.
Yeah.
But by saying that, this information that we're giving you is really good. So IRS.gov, and then if you go to the Economic Impact Payment Information Center, kind of a mouthful, we'll write it out. Okay, so what it's saying is there's basically, it's really easy to follow. There's a bunch of general eligibility and just like questions and answers. So if you, like, who is eligible? We aren't going to cover that again today because we covered it a bunch of times before. But who is not eligible? How much is it worth? Do I need to take action? Does somebody who is incarcerated qualify for a payment? Next, there's requesting my economic impact payment. And some of these things I feel like are kind of from previously, like at this point, you probably have already done what you need to do. But I'm just going to go ahead and this is from May 8th, so it's a little while ago. But the question is, will the IRS contact me about my payment? The answer is that the IRS will not call, email, or text you about your payment. They will not contact you to request personal or bank account information. Watch out for websites and social media attempts that request money or personal information, and for schemes tied to the economic impact payment. The IRS urges taxpayers to visit the IRS.gov and protect you against the scam artists. And then for security reasons, what happens is that a letter about the payment will be mailed to each recipient's last known address within 15 days after the payment is made. So kind of the deal is that if the IRS is like contacting you for information, it's not the IRS. They do not contact you. But after you get your payment, 15 days after, you get a letter in the mail. So
I just want to say something real quick about that letter. As long as Corey's talking about, we've had a few people reach out asking about the letter saying, is this in reference to the second check? No. The letter is just a follow-up after you receive your payment, whether it's direct express or your deposit or a paper check. It doesn't matter how you receive it. Within 2 weeks afterward, they'll send you that letter basically just saying, we sent out your check and you should have received it by now. So that's not in reference to the second stimulus package. That's just a follow-up to the first one.
Exactly. It's just, this is all just really good to kind of know. Next section is calculating my economic impact payment. So there's just a bunch of different like situations. Like this one I'm going to read specifically. I think the amount of my economic impact payment is incorrect. What can I do? We get this a lot. This is updated as of May 14th. Basically what they're saying is the payments amounts vary based on your income, filing status, and family size. If you filed a 2019 tax return, the IRS used information from it about you, your spouse, your income, filing status, and qualifying children. If you did not receive the full amount to which you believe you're entitled, you will be able to claim the additional amount when you file your 2020 tax return. This is particularly important for individuals who may be entitled to the additional $500 per qualifying child payments, and you didn't receive it. So I know that this is kind of a lot. We're like 8 minutes into this video, and I'm saying like information that you might find helpful kind of late in the game, but I feel like this is just information that you can find on the website that I actually think is pretty helpful.
Yep, I want to jump in and say a couple more things because people have been commenting about this. But what's weird is in the last, I would say 24 hours, we've received a handful of comments, people saying my ex-husband, my ex-spouse, whoever, claimed our child or children as dependents, but I have 100% custody and they never see their father. What can I do? Well, if he's claiming them, you probably want to call the IRS because if you have full custody of that child and the father has nothing to do with the kid and they're still claiming them as a dependent, well, guess what? They're probably also getting that extra $500. So you probably want to call the IRS about that because in my opinion, that's fraud. So I don't know, but call the IRS, talk to them about your specific situation because again, it's different for everybody. But I've had, a handful of people reach out in the last day, in the last 24 hours, asking that question. So you probably want to talk to the IRS about that because technically you should be eligible for that extra $500 per child because you should be the one claiming them as a dependent, not your ex who has zero custody.
And right here it says too, we have not heard a lot of people telling us about this, probably because they're happy, but what if a child's parents who are not married to each other both get the $500 for the child? Will one of them have to pay it back? The answer is that there's no provision in the law, so the answer is no, you don't, requiring repayment. Instead, each parent should review their paperwork, let's see here, and they should keep the notices for their 2020 tax records.
But again, we're not advising you. You probably want to talk to your tax professional or maybe even the IRS, but it's written right there on the website. So just
it sounds like
if you happen to get overpayment, just consider like it's a little gift.
Well, and I wouldn't say that that's like overpayment either.
Well,
compared to like, that's not necessarily overpayment.
Yeah.
Is what they're specifically kind of saying.
Right.
But you want to keep your paperwork so that when you file your taxes next year, and if you usually don't, you probably should this time around just because of this weird stuff. But it talks about receiving your payment. It does not tell you when you will receive your payment because they don't know your specific information on their website for everyone. But it's just good information. We wanted to tell you guys all about this, and that's kind of what we wanted to do today, was give you this information because we feel like it's a little different and a little new.
Yep. So I'm going to have Corey get the phone number one more time for you. While she does that, I'm going to explain one more thing. I've had, again, a few people reach out in the last couple days saying, my husband, okay, I'm just going to give you an example. This is the example. My husband receives Social Security. You could fill in Social Security with SSI or any other benefit. It doesn't matter, but this is just the example I'm giving. My husband receives SSDI. We're married. We do not file. He received his. When do I get mine? My response to that is, if you do not receive Social Security or some type of monthly benefit, whether it's Social Security, SSI, VA, any of those benefits, and you do not file a tax return, well, the IRS doesn't know you exist. Sorry to tell you that, but that's just how it is. So you either need to file a tax return, or you need to go on the IRS website and fill out the non-filer tool, because they don't know that you're there. So how can they send you money if they don't know that you are like existing? So we've had that question, and my response to that is you need to do something to tell the IRS that you are a living person who qualifies for a check. So just know that that's the situation. So Corey has the phone number. She's going to read it to you.
Yes. And also there is a section on this web page that I just told you about that talks about kind of information, but I feel like it's a little bit
so
I don't want to say convoluted, but it's like if I read it, we'd all be like, huh?
Yeah, we don't want to do that. We want to make this easy.
Anyway,
so let's read the phone number.
Here's the phone number is 1-800-919-9835, and we'll put it below.
Yeah, so that's for the IRS. Again, check out the IRS website for the questions and answers. You can also find on the SSA website, there's a great frequently asked questions section there you can reference. Otherwise, we're making these videos. We're doing as much as we can to help everybody through this time. So just reach out if you have a question. Hopefully we can get to it. So anyway, have a great day.